Hey everyone, so if you don't know, I've spent the past month holding a Mass Effect character popularity tournament on my channel, so which ones were surprise favourites and who won? Let's find out.
Lockhart QT.
So this works by having 32 characters in a knockout style tournament voted by you, the fans, via YouTube voting polls that were essentially held once a day. But me being the pea-sized brain individual that I am, I accidentally had too many characters in this tournament and didn't want to cut any. So I had to do some prelim rounds at the beginning, but we got the actual tournament later on. So I started by getting an official ranking for each character that I listed in the tournament. I then entered their seeds based on which number they got in order into a random generator to choose who faced who in a random knockout style tournament style. So, starting off with the prelim rounds, we have some heavy hitters going out here. We had Arya T'Loak versus Kasumi, Conrad Werner versus Nyreen Kandros, and the Elusive Man versus Samantha Trainer. Again, all of these characters were randomly picked, and these were randomly picked to be in the prelim rounds. Now Arya obviously won here as she's more popular than Kasumi, and this was really interesting, but she was actually a very popular character and was seeded quite highly. But what surprised me here was Nyreen Kandros from Mass Effect 3's Omega DLC, which she was a one-off squad mate, beat the absolute meme fest that is Conrad Werner. I was really surprised by this. Sorry Conrad. And finally, the Elusive Man beat Samantha Trainer. Again, wasn't really surprised by this. I would have been more surprised if Sam had actually won, but the Elusive Man went on. Now getting into the actual first proper round of the tournament. This is now a knockout style tournament, and again we had some heavy hitters going out here. Firstly, we had Tali versus Arya, which is two of the highest seeded characters in the entire tournament, but Tali ultimately destroying her in the votes. We then had Legion versus Miranda, which Legion somehow came out victorious. Honestly, really surprised by that one. Another surprising one with two heavy hitters was Rex beating Thane, getting over 85% of the votes. We also had Dr. Chokwas beating PB from Andromeda, Caden Alenko beating Navigator Presley, Jack beating Javik, Joker absolutely destroying Morinth, which goes to show you the community's distaste for that character. And the funniest matchup in the entire video, the Catalyst beating Liam from Mass Effect Andromeda, being two of the most, I'd say two of the most hated characters in the entire series, and I was so happy that these two got paired up against each other. I was absolutely wetting myself when this happened. I promise you this was not on purpose, this was by random chance, and I guess the vote here shows how much we all hate Liam.
I think I really pissed that one off. Maybe because I shot him in the face.
Then we had Garrus beating Nyreen, the Battle of the Turians, Morden beating Ashley Williams, Anderson beating Zaid, Grunt beating Drac in a Battle of the Krogans, Liara absolutely obliterating James Vega, and another surprising one, Cora from Mass Effect Andromeda beating Jacob, which goes to show you how much of you actually don't like Jacob, because a lot of you don't like Cora. She's not actually the most popular character from Mass Effect Andromeda, and she was the only Mass Effect Andromeda character who actually made it through the first round, which speaks volumes of that game. Then we had Edie beating Samara, and the Elusive Man beating Vetra from Andromeda as well. Next up we have round 2, and things got even spicier. We had Tali who basically sent Caden to an early grave, Rex beat Legion, Jack beat Dr. Chokwas, Joker absolutely destroyed the Catalyst in the biggest loss yet, gaining over 90% of the votes, absolutely sending that little space ghost kid back to the void where he came from. Then we had Garrus beating Morden. Anderson, now this was an interesting one. He became an underdog somehow, beating Grunt, which made a lot of commenters who actually commented on the post really unhappy, because people were shocked as Grunt lost. And again, if you're that shocked he lost, why didn't you vote for him? Liara then beat the last Andromeda left standing, Cora, and Creation beat Creator as Edie beat the Elusive Man. Next up, round 3 in the quarterfinals. Tally absolutely comfortably beat Rex. Again, I'm not really surprised here, but she did. Joker surprisingly overwhelmed Jack in the votes. I thought some of you horny devils would vote Jack, but congrats on not thinking your ding-dongs for once. Garrus knocked out the underdog Anderson. Really sorry, Anderson, I'm actually surprised he got this far. I was expecting Anderson to sort of go out in the first round, but here we are, he's in the quarterfinals. And finally, Liara beating Edie, making the semi-finalists going forward Liara Tassoni, Tally, Joker, and Garrus. But just before we get to the semi-finals though, let's talk about the seeding. Tally was seed number 1, Liara was seed number 2, Garrus at number 3, and Joker at number 6, making Joker the least likely to win. And honestly, I'm not even surprised, as Liara, Tally and Garrus are all considered to be the fan favourites, but when you think about it, Joker is the only squad mate who is 100% loyal to Shepard throughout the entire trilogy, even joining Cerberus for us. So going into the last 4 in the semi-finals, but what happened next? So we had Tally versus Garrus, which could have easily have been the final itself, with Tally winning marginally with under 5% of the votes, making this the closest matchup yet. And Liara managed to beat Joker pretty easily with over 70% of the votes, but congrats to Joker for actually outlasting characters like Rex, Arya, Kasumi, and just loads of other characters actually that were quite popular, so well done Joker. And finally, we have the 2 finalists, Liara Tassoni, an Asari researcher saved by Shepard in Mass Effect 1 turned ally, and possibly even romanceable if you're into that sort of thing. Forging her own future by going from a poppy-eyed researcher to a confident shadow broker who has her hands round Ilium, Fessia and loads of other planets, basically getting whatever information she wants. Versus Tali'Zorah Vas Normandy, a young Quarian whose personality is so popular that she doesn't even have to show her face to be the number 1 seeded character and the face of this channel, wink wink. She also was saved by Shepard, but becomes an important figure in reclaiming Rannoch and kickstarting the future of her entire species, whether or not she teams up with the Geth. And ladies and gentlemen, the winner of your Mass Effect character popularity tournament was, after winning with over 57% of the votes, it was Tally. Honestly, I'm not surprised. I had an idea she'd do well since she is the face of the channel and it's kind of a bit biased, but I promise you I left it all up to chance and did it randomly generated, and this entire tournament has been really eye-opening to see who you all prefer as characters. For example, we had underdogs such as Anderson and Joker making it quite far in the tournament, and characters like Cora making it past the first round somehow, whilst heavy hitters such as Arya and Miranda got knocked out extremely early on. But thank you to all who participated in the voting, as it lasted pretty much almost 2 months, and this video took 2 months to make it as the process, and I couldn't have finished it all without you, so thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see who I picked as my favourite characters earlier this year, I did it in my own tier list, which included every squad mate in the series, so click here to check that out, and it will be in the description as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching to the end, and for more Mass Effect content, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and I'm LockhartQT, and you're my favourite fans aboard the Citadel. Good night.